Hey, you guys. So, I wanted to share something that I just had this revelation and this epiphany, and things are kind of falling into place and clicking. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, of course, it would work that way. So, I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes when I'm hanging out with friends, and it doesn't really matter which friends, my kids have friends come over, and by the time they leave, I'm exhausted. Like, so much more so than you would think would be possible or necessary, right? I'm just exhausted. And I which is weird because I'm extroverted, and so being around people, like, I love being around people, and that typically recharges me, and it's super fun for me to be around people, but I realized what happens is that I just assume everyone is a perpetrator or a potential perpetrator. And so we'll be hanging out and having a good time. And I will spend some of my energy trying to be fully engaged, trying to be in the conversation. I'm hanging out, I'm totally in it. And then there's another part of my energy that gets spent on being ready to defend myself and punch you in the throat if I have to. Like, I don't know if that happens to you guys. And then there's part of my energy that gets spent on making sure that my kids are safe and they're okay. And if I need to punch in the face on their behalf, I will. And so I end up spending most, even when I'm having a great time, like, most of my energy gets spent kind of in this, like, tense moment of do what it do I need to step in? Do I need to not step in? Is everything okay? Do I need to pay attention to what they're doing? When my kids aren't playing in the same room, I'm like hyper vigilant to these potential situations. And most of the time it never happens. So far with my kids, it's never happened. And so it has occurred to me that as someone who has survived sexual abuse, right? I there were things that my body was telling me that I didn't know how to listen to. And so now what I've been doing, so here's my tip for challenge to myself. You guys can join me if you want to. Recognizing when I go to hang out with somebody, what boundaries ahead of time do I need to put into place? There are some situations and some people where we are 100% safe. I don't have to pay attention. I don't have to do any of that. And so I can tell my body, hey, calm the crap down. Like, you don't need to be so uptight right now, right? There are some situations where we're sort of acquaintances. I kind of know you, but we're trying to get to know each other better. And so I need to be a little bit like, I need to have a little bit of that where I'm paying attention, I'm watching what's happening. I don't fully let my guard down. And the hard part is finding that balance of when I can do that and when I need to have some really clear, like, no, my kids are not really going to leave my side. They're not going to go out of the room that we're in. And that's not being ridiculously overprotective. That's just being safe, right? And so there are certain situations where that's warranted. And then there are some situations where, yeah, go play, do your thing. And so recognizing beforehand, mentally preparing, like, it's hard, and it's fairly it takes a lot of brain power to think through what situation am I going into? Where are we going to be? Who's going to be there? Can I kind of let my guard down? Do I need to be? And then working with my husband to say, okay, here's how I'm feeling going into this. This is what I'm thinking. Having him kind of help share that burden a little bit, so I don't have to be the one who's totally, like, always on edge. So that is what I've been thinking about. Hopefully that made sense, and that was kind of clear that one, give yourself grace. Yes, it's hard. This is a hard process. Learning to let go and to remind yourself when you're in a safe place that you don't need to be nervous, you don't need to be scared, you don't need to be you don't need to hold yourself in a way that in that fight or flight moment, recognizing when those are, and then actively working to say, okay, this is a safe place. I'm gonna relax. And so sometimes that conversation has to happen multiple times when I'm hanging out with somebody. I'm like, okay, we're safe. I'm good. I don't need to be in the fight or flight moment. We're good, right? So give yourself grace. Keep practicing. I know it's kind of a mental game. You'll get there, okay? You'll get there.